All right, good morning, everyone. Most of you have already done business planning with me, but I'm excited to go over my presentation today. So the data does not lie. The power of planning is so important. 83% of businesses with a plan outperform everybody without a plan. So if you plan, you will win, and that's the whole goal. We've been planning for a couple months now, and we're ready to take on 2025 and dominate, right? So here we go. Where's the thing? There we go. So know your numbers. So a lot of you already know your numbers from the past. There's a couple of you on here that are brand new. So, we have to know your numbers. What is your income goal? So let's say your income goal is 250,000. Set your ambitious yet achievable income target for 2025. So know your market, right? That's really important. Know your average sales price, because based on your average sales price, then you can calculate how many transactions you have to meet that year in order to meet that goal, right? And where those transactions are coming from is really important. So we'll go into like tracking and, finding out your ROI and all that stuff. But knowing the number, your income goal, and knowing how many transactions you need is really important to determine like the ideal number of closings to reach that income goal. And if you don't know what you want this goal to be this year, a good growth rate is 20%. So aim for a steady increase in your business performance year over year, at least 20%. I mean, I think there's people on this call that have doubled what they've done last year. So, that's a good gauge too. So look at your history as well, depending on how long you've been in the industry. So setting realistic goals. So business goals, increase market share, expanding a team, or boosting your online presence. So what are your business goals, right? Is it, do you want to get into luxury? Do you want to dominate in a certain neighborhood, right? Do you want to increase that average sales price? What is that business goal that you have this year, right? Do you want to expand a team and have buyer's agents and showing agents under you? Do you want to market more, right? Do you want to prospect more and get more of your own leads? Some of you are on here are Zillow, right? So Zillow ROI is a lot less than you generating your own lead, but it's an opportunity. So you want to have a good balance of, your personal leads, your office leads, and what you're paying out for leads as well. So that's really important. Number 2 is your personal goals. Achieve work-life balance, pursue hobbies that you want to do, or travel more, right? So that income goal, what's the purpose of that income goal? Is it to pay off your home? Is it to buy an investment property? Is it to travel more? Have that personal goal that's behind that business goal. Health goals. Without health, we don't have anything, right? We can't perform. We have to be able to manage stress. So finding ways to reduce stress, especially in our industry, where, every transaction has another problem, right? So make sure that you have that balance and improve, your daily schedule, whether it's, meditating, working out to release some stress, even taking a walk between calls, or, taking that mental break that you might need, and just having that right mindset. And then your financial goals. So I think as business owners and entrepreneurs, we forget about saving for retirement, right? We are 1099. We're commission-based. We don't think about setting a percentage aside for retirement, or for saving, or for investing in a property, or to even, get that financial freedom that we want. So those are goals that we need to look at as well, because that's, super important. So there's a lot of different tools out there for that. So make sure that you guys are doing that. for those of you that are new agents, make sure you have incorporated and you have, you know, your tax ID number, because you'll be able to write off more things if you are incorporated. So make sure you guys are doing that. So we talk about goals, and everybody, you know, everybody knows this acronym, the SMART method for setting goals. So number one is being specific. So clearly defining what you want to achieve, avoiding vague or general statements. So you want to be really specific. So you want to really have that number. So knowing your numbers is important. So you're specific on your income goal. You're specific on how many deals you have to do a year in order to meet that goal. So let's say it's, you need 24 transactions a year to meet that income goal. So that's 2 transactions a month, right? So be really specific and have those goals written in front of you. Like have it on a post-it on your laptop, you know, have it in your office so that you're looking at it. I know this month I have to do 2, right? Then you cross off, you have 1 under contract. Okay, now I need another 1 under contract to meet my goal this month, right? So be very specific on your goals. Number 2, measurable. So establish quantifiable targets to track progress and gauge success. So we talk about our gold mine pipeline, right? So in our pipeline, you know what your target is. You know what you have coming in, right? You know where the lead source is coming from. So you know what dollar amount is with that particular client, right? So make sure you guys are breaking it down and tracking your progress. So today I made 10 calls. Out of those 10 calls, I got 1 appointment, right? That 1 appointment in that day. So that's that day. That in the whole week I had 2 appointments and I had 1 listing, right? So make sure you're measuring this and you're tracking your progress, right? Because then you can go back and say, oh, I didn't meet my goal this month. Why didn't I meet my goal this month? Oh, on Tuesday, I didn't make as many calls as I normally do. It was an off day. So you want to make sure you're able to go back and see what it is that you didn't do to meet that goal and adjust it for the next month, right? So number 3, make sure it's achievable. So set realistic goals that are challenging but yet attainable, right? So make sure that they are achievable, realistic goals, right? Number 4, relevant. So ensure that goals align with your overall success, your overall business objectives and personal aspirations. So make sure that they're relevant to that specific goal. And number 5 is time bound. So set deadlines to create a sense of urgency and ensure accountability. So, you know, break it down monthly, then you break it down quarterly, and you do those monthly and quarterly reviews, right? That's the whole reason why we set these goals, to reach that end goal at the end of the year. One of the biggest problems I think agents have, or entrepreneurs, you know, business owners, is time blocking, right? So time blocking for success. So some examples are morning. Do some prospecting in the morning. So dedicate 2 hours to lead generation and follow-ups, right? Do you have a daily schedule? If you don't have a daily schedule, make sure you're sitting down and writing it down, right? Habit. It's all about creating a habit and creating a system so that you can succeed and meet that goal every day. So for example, number 2 is, you know, midday. That's when your client meetings are. So schedule your showings, you know, your listing presentations, you know, do your negotiations, following up with your clients, talking about listings, activity that they're getting. Maybe you need price reductions or going over properties, right? Oh, Mr. Smith, I sent you 10 properties yesterday. Were you able to look at that, right? So having that routine. In the afternoon, doing your administrative tasks, right? Handle paperwork, update your CRM, respond to emails, working in your CRM and following up, which, you know, that should be open at all times. And number 4 is evening personal development, whether it's investing in learning, doing, listening to a podcast that relates to your business, whether it's networking. I think a lot of us forget to network. That's I think are really important, because building relationships, that's how you're going to meet other people and create opportunities for yourself. And of course, your family time, right? It's really important to set that time apart, right? You have your family time, you have dinner every day with your family at this time. Set that expectation for your clients. Okay, between 6 and 7:30, I'm having dinner with my family. If you call me around that time, I'll call you as soon as I finish, right? Make sure you're blocking that time and everybody's aware that's your schedule. So now we're going to talk a little bit about budget planning, right? So know where your income streams are coming from. So whether it's commissions from selling, from listing homes, from working with buyers, whether it's referral fees, right? I think that's an income stream. That's a whole other bucket that you have that I think a lot of people forget about that. So, that's part of your network. Make sure that you are in those referral groups. Make sure you're posting in there and talking about your specialties, right? Make sure you're building relationship with other offices. Like, I think we have several offices here in our call today. So, those are important things. And sharing your one app. Sharing your one app, it works everywhere. It works in all of the United States. So you have family members somewhere else, they can work for you. Say, if you know anybody looking in real estate, share this app. It's free. It's hassle free. They're able to see everything on the MLS, and you're able to see what they're looking at, and you're able to connect them with another real estate professional and get a referral fee. So I think, we've signed several referral fees. We also get our calls for referral fees. So make sure your zone accounts are up to date. Those are yearly things that you want to look at. Rentals. Rentals are important. For those of you who have done rentals in the past, those are future buyers. Don't forget. Make sure you have them in your database, in your CRM. Make sure you're following up with them, right? Encourage them to buy. Send those analyses, renting versus buying. Those are powerful analysis, because you can see how much you're wasting in rent every year, right? And being that resource to help them, if for any reason they have credit issues, make sure you're able to help them and put them in the path of home ownership, right? Mentorship. We have mentorship in the office. We have several agents that have started the certification for mentorship. If you have a teaching heart, if you like to educate, while you're doing real estate, you're able to mentor other agents and get, residual income from them, right? From their first transactions. At the same time, you're building your team as well. So think about that as well. So think about different ways of income streams. Business expenses. So does everybody have a budget? Does everybody know what their business expenses are? For the most part, we should. So, it's like your monthly fees, your realtor dues, your marketing costs, like how much are you going to allocate for marketing, right? For your Facebook ads, for your brochures, for your signs, those are all things that we have to budget for. So make sure you guys are budgeting for that, and allocating some of your commissions to go to that, right? Because I've learned that if you don't spend money, you're not going to make money, right? So you have to spend money to make money. So just finding out the stuff that actually works. Within Realty One Group, we have stuff in our marketplace. We have relationships with a lot of vendors nationally. So, before you buy into a system or a lead system or marketing system, make sure you run it by, your coach, your mentor, your broker, the office, or, your peers, because chances are somebody has tried it and can give you good feedback, right? So you don't waste your money like that series on TV.
Yeah. Right.
So you don't waste your money. Okay, so a business expense too. It's like a TC. If you want to get a TC, if you want to get a virtual assistant, you know, that's a goal for some people, right? They want to be able to have an assistant, but you have to reach a certain level for that. So make sure that you account for that in your business expenses. Technology tools. You know, Realty One Group offers a lot of technology. So that's already included in your monthly fees. I'm guilty of this, and I'm sure a lot of us here are guilty of it, that there's so many tools that you get a little overwhelmed, right? But make sure you look in our one login before you purchase anything, because chances are it's in there. Like yesterday, we had a one suite class with Minor, and Ellie knows how to do this as well, but email campaigning, right? Instead of spending money on Constant Contact or MailChimp, through OneSuite, it creates everything for you. And it sends out your listings, it sends out market reports, it sends out a lot of stuff that's customizable. So, you know, make sure you guys are utilizing the tools you have to see if you can cut some expenses of other things that you have that you're paying for that you really don't need. So think about those things. And then personal expenses. So know your budget, right? How much do you have to make to pay your household bills? You know, your car, healthcare. Those are all personal expenses, right? So make sure you have a budget for that. And think about that budget when you're writing that annual sales goal. So another important thing is really investing in yourself. So, you know, we're always learning. Knowledge is power. So continuously learning, you know, attend seminars, read market analysis reports regularly, you know your market, and really spend time knowing your inventory, what's out there, right? Whether it's, you know, new construction, whether it's resales. I think it's super important to know how many months of inventory are on the market, right? It changes every month. So make sure you're utilizing the stats from our local board. Zillow also has great stats and market reports within their system. So make sure you guys are using that. Our One Suite has monthly market reports that you can set up your clients on. So make sure all that stuff is kind of implemented in your system daily. Realty One Group also has a calendar of events. They actually just launched the calendar. I think it's a new calendar that they're doing. So make sure you guys are looking at those emails weekly that you get from Realty One Group, because they have classes within corporate with our partners specific to different things. So they have an RPR class. They have you know, the listing track class. They have One Suite training. They have a lot of stuff, and they're always continuously updating the tools and technology. You know, sometimes we log in there and we see something new. Make sure you guys are looking at that and do those videos. One University has a lot of training videos. So invest your time in that because the tools are there. It's just a matter of spending the time to learn them. Skill development. So take courses on negotiations, right? The ABR course is still free, right? Till the end of this month?
Till the 31st. They can do it online at their own pace.
Yep. Through the NAR site.
I think today and tomorrow are the last 2 classes of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a good course to do. You know, updating yourself on different things. I think, you know, short sales, you're seeing a lot of short sales now as well. You know, those are really important classes and things to be a part of. Digital marketing, you know, CMA classes, the IMAP classes, they're always doing classes. So make sure you're setting time apart to do these classes and learn, because this is your business, right? This is your business. So you want to learn all these different things. Networking. We talk about this a lot. when I first got into real estate, that's how I really took off, is, you know, joining a local BNI group or a networking group, because it gets your name out there. It's other professionals that are referring you, you know, having, you know, your referral partners as well. You know, it's important for us to have a real estate attorney, a CPA, you know, an inspection company, a lender. So make sure you're out there networking and attending real estate conferences. You know, Florida Realtors has great classes. They have great conferences that you can attend. Your local boards do. You know, there's NAREP. There's all these different events and networking opportunities that you can go to. Women's Council, YPN. There's so many networking groups. And you know, you're meeting people, you're meeting other professionals in your industry and that you can learn from, right? That you're going to do business with. And it's just opens up, you know, more opportunities for you. So make sure you guys are setting time apart to do networking. So let's talk a little bit about lead generation strategies. So it's the end of the year. Let's revamp your social media, right? Google your name. Make sure your online presence is what you want people to see, right? Make sure you update your bio, your resumes, update your websites, right? There's a lot of stuff that you can do. So optimize your website, your social media profiles for lead capture. Make sure you're updating your Zone account as well.
Especially your bio,
What?
especially if you have how many years you've been in business.
Oh
your
yeah,
bio.
your bio for sure. I do that every year because every year it goes up, right? So now I've been licensed since 2000. That's what I put. That way you don't have to update it every year. But those are some things that you want to make sure you're doing, is updating your presence online and making sure that's what you want people to see about you. Content marketing. So create valuable blog posts, videos, newsletters to attract prospects. So, you know, put that in your marketing schedule, right? What do you want to do different in 2025? Number 3, networking events. We've kind of talked about that already. Attend local community gatherings. So, you know, give back to the community. Go to some of these community events. Sponsor a table, right? At the same time, you're, you know, sponsoring a charity, but you're also there representing your brand, right? Representing your business. So those are good things to do to build relationships and generate referrals. And number 4, targeted advertising. So use data-driven ads like Facebook ads, Google to reach potential clients. So I know a lot of you have had success with, you know, back at you, Facebook ads, Google. So, you know, make sure you guys are, you know, investing time, and we have all these classes that we have done on our portal. So make sure you guys are watching them, right? And if you have questions, you know, reach out. We're all happy to help, but everybody has their niche. So find out what your niche is and make sure you are targeting that audience.
I mean, even wearing your t-shirt and your name tag is lead generation.
Yeah, yeah. Tony said even wearing your name tag and your t-shirt, right, is lead gen, because they're going to be like, oh, it's a conversation starter, right? Oh, you're in real estate. Everyone likes to talk about real estate. Everyone. All right, guys. So measuring ROI on marketing and operations. So, you know, we talked a little bit about knowing your pipeline, but knowing where your leads are coming from, right? Where are your deals coming from? Are you more of a buyer's agent? Do you want to change that, right? Or are you a listing agent? You know, track your lead sources. So are your sales coming from Zillow? Are they coming from referrals, right? Are they coming from past clients? So use unique phone numbers or landing pages to identify where your leads generate. So, you know, we have Follow Up Boss. You're able to put and tag people in Follow Up Boss. One suite, you can also put in and separate your leads, where they're coming from, if they're buyer or seller leads. So make sure you're tracking your clients and updating your database, at least weekly. Calculate your cost per lead. So divide total marketing spend by the number of leads generated and that actually closed. So those are numbers that you want to know. Analyze your conversion rates. So monitor the percentage of leads that turn into closed deals. And adjust strategy. So reallocate resources to high-performing channels based on your ROI data. Right? Does anybody want to share like what system has worked well for them, or where they're getting most of their clients from?
For me, it's just following up with my sphere of influence or my clients that I've previously done deals with. Because especially this year, following up with them, they've all like want to rent out their properties. So this has led to a lot of rental listings this year.
Right, but it was a constant follow up and checking in that they still remember using you
Mhm.
and refer you as
Yeah.
well. You've gotten a lot of referral business this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else want to share?
Same for me. I've been wearing my shirt, or if not my shirt, my t-shirts everywhere, pretty much. And I on purpose put my name tag upside down, because the minute that people see it, they try to correct it, and I force them into a conversation. So,
Great tactic, Patty. Great tactic.
And also, I've been a lot more aggressive because my mindset has shifted. We give a lot of business to everybody else. Why can't we also promote ours? Yesterday, I went to my endocrinologist. The woman works there from 7:30 to 5 o'clock at night. She doesn't get a chance to see anybody out. So I had her to myself, and I gave her my card, and I told her, if you're willing to, if you're thinking of buying or whatever, oh yeah, put down my information and send me whatever. So I'm like thinking to myself, yeah, all the people I do business with, I'm going to show that, or express that I do business too. We can work together,
Yeah, exactly. And that's the mindset you have to have. Just like, when you go to a doctor's office and you're filling out the form, like, where did you hear from us from? Was it Google, Instagram, or a person, right? Or do you have any referrals for me? I always say this, and I love my financial planner, but he's always the first person to say before he leaves is, give me like 5 names of people that you think I might need to connect with, right? And Ryan's laughing because we have the same financial planner, and so is Tony. But he won't leave until you give him 5 names, right? So,
wow.
That's stuff that we have to think about. And especially like when you're closing a client, they're excited, they're happy, right? Ask for the business while they're happy, while they're excited. They just closed, they've had a great experience. Yeah, or even sponsor their housewarming party, right? You're gonna meet all their friends and family, right? And they're gonna say, oh, this is my agent that sold me the house, right? Sponsor their housewarming party. So think about, things like that can like help you get in front of people that you've already done business with. All right, so know your market, know your client, know your audience. We talk about this a lot. It's like knowledge is power, and knowing your market. Do your market research. Analyze the local trends. What's happening in the neighborhood that you're farming, or in the city. A new building is coming up. A new Publix is opening. What's happening in the market that might drive prices to go up or down, right? Pricing.
New businesses coming in.
Yeah, new businesses coming in for sure. Like I think the board sponsors a county event where they have at the, I think it's at the county office at planning and zoning on what new projects are coming up, right? Whether it's commercial or residential. So go to those events, and, you know, find out what is happening in the neighborhood, right? Know what the market trends are. Consumer persona, so develop detailed profiles on your clients. So important to ask questions, but it's more important to listen, right? So listen to their wants and needs, understanding what it is that they need, what's their motivation. That is what's going to, you know, get you the client, right? It's going to get you the trust. You're building that rapport with them, you know, finding out what their motivation is and using it. You know, for buyers, you know, they're excited. It's their first house. Get excited with them. You know the type of person you're talking to as well. Like every generation's a little different. Some, you know, some people like to be communicated with different as well. So know your client and set that expectation. Like you want text message, email, or phone calls. What's the best way to communicate with you? And then audience engagement. So tailor your marketing efforts to resonate with specific demographics and interests. So, you know who your audience is when you're doing your Facebook ads, right? Know who that audience is. So if you're, you know, advertising for rentals, you know that those are people that might have credit challenges or are just moving to the area and don't know, you know, the area and want to kind of rent for a year before they find the area they want to live in. So, you know, make sure you know who it is you're speaking to. First-time home buyers. So if you're talking to first-time home buyers, right? When we had Hometown Heroes, when you have, you know, FHA, know know the down payment assistance programs, right? Know who your audience is when you're doing these ads, right? And giving tips. You know, you always want to have an action plan in any marketing efforts that you do, right? Have a call to action. Okay, follow up. We talk about follow up all the time. Follow up, and client retention. So immediate response, reply to new leads within 5 minutes, right? Because that's, you gotta get on the momentum. Everybody wants information now. So make sure you know, your response time is where it needs to be. Personalized follow-up. So send tailored content based on your client's needs. That goes back to, you know, listening and asking the right questions and setting up a profile for them, knowing what it is that they want and checking with them constantly because things change all the time, right? Things change all the time. You know, a seller can say, oh, I'm not looking to sell until, you know, after April, right? But because you didn't follow up constantly, you know, they ended up listing a house in February because they got the job relocation they wanted ahead of time, right? So make sure you guys are following up constantly, right? And setting up those future appointments, right? To check in and follow up with them. So always have that action plan. Regular check-ins, you know, maintain contact with past clients, you know, at least monthly, if not quarterly. I think some of you do monthly newsletters. Those are great. Or even sending out like weekly things to do in the area, right? Those are things that keep you top of mind and keep you checked in with your clients. Like, you know, make sure you have them all follow your business page. Make sure you have them on social media. You see they went on vacation, you know, when they come back, check in. Hey, how was your vacation? Right? You're checking in, but at the same time, you know, you're getting top of mind again, right? So make sure you guys are doing that. And client appreciation, you know, host annual or quarterly events to show your gratitude and strengthen relationships. You know, do holiday drives like food drives to get in front of people. You know, you could do, I think a couple of you did pie giveaways. So those are all different things that you could do to show your appreciation for your clients. All right, guys, so your action plan for 2025, we've kind of gone through this. This is like just, set your clear goals, define your income target and transaction goals for the year, implement time blocking, because I think having that schedule is and perfect day in your marketing schedule and your weekly schedule completed is super important. So make sure you guys are doing that. Diversify your lead generation. Find out what works, what doesn't work, right? Develop a multi-channel approach to attract new clients consistently, right? Yes, the office gives leads, but you have to lead generate, right? That's in the business we're in. Lead generating business. We're not lead generating if we're not adding people to our CRM daily, we're not making money, right? Every person is an opportunity. Every conversation is an opportunity, whether it's with that person or somebody they know. Measure and adjust. So regularly review your ROI and adapt strategies for optimal performance. How many of you have completed your business plan?
I did.
Almost there. I need to adjust it because of the mentoring.
Okay.
Take that into consideration instead of being just producing.
Oh, definitely. All right. Well, make sure you guys complete it. Turn them in. Schedule your one-on-ones. We'll go over it. I think I've done a couple one-on-ones with some of you already. So you guys are ready to go. We're excited for 2025. And
Send it to the compliance email, I'll save it in their agent file and it'll be there for if we need to go back to it.
yeah, so make sure you guys are sending it to compliance, and you guys know we're here if you need anything. So I'm gonna end it with a little quote. Embrace the grind and outwork everyone. Success comes to those who hustle. So let's get out there, let's outwork everyone, and let's make 2025 golden. All right, guys, have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Good day.